Well, here we are, everybody. I am going to be taking a little bit of a different approach, and of course, when I get a little bit of experimental, it gets a little bit fun sometimes, I hope. But I wanted to come on here because recently I have been getting really heavily back into Twice off the channel. Um, and I was covering a lot of familiar ground. And I thought the one thing that was kind of interesting, now this is not to take away from any of the girls. In fact, this person is not even my bias. However, as I was sitting here thinking about, Twice as a group, something kind of kept coming up that really kind of stuck in my mind. And I think the interesting thing is in a lot of ways, I think this particular person is not just a backbone and like a solid foundation for all of Twice. I might actually even say that this particular idol is probably one of the most undervalued idols in all of K-pop. I'm talking about Mina. Now I know I know she's generally kind of the quiet member, but like I find it interesting as I've been going through, I realized she has a very specific role, especially within Twice. First and foremost, I think she has one of the trickier roles, and that is a lot of times she doesn't get the super flashy stuff. What she generally gets is the bridges and like the assists off into the major part of the song, which I think is kind of interesting. So I'm going to showcase a couple of moments here that really highlight that for me personally. The one that I thought was actually also kind of interesting too is I think that as much as if you're a big fan of Twice and you think about Twice, I think a lot of people first and foremost think about Momo or think about Sana or they think about Jihyo or Chewy, the more popular members. And I'm not saying that Mina's not popular. I think she's incredibly popular, but I feel like the interesting thing is that she's kind of, because she's so quiet. I think a lot of times I personally, in everything that I've ever heard, doesn't get a lot of discussion around her. But I'm looking at her like profile, and I mean like she's always an ambassador for like Fendi or Gucci or like all these super high-end places. And then she's got this crazy like foundation where she's the one who's handing off. She's almost like the point guard of Twice, which if you're not into basketball is generally what people refer to as the distributor. And I think it's interesting because I feel like a lot of times, like I said, she kind of, I think, gets kind of put to the wayside a little bit. She's maybe too quiet. But in any case, I just wanted to kind of do this quick little video and show some of my favorite moments of her being just like this absolute foundation and how it is for her being able to do these pass-offs and being able to be this bridge singer, which I think is actually kind of crazy. I didn't even notice it until the other day. I was listening to something. I'm like, huh, I didn't even notice this. But she's in a lot of these really most important parts of the song. This was actually my first comeback, by the way. So, like, there's that, her passing it off right there. And also, this scene right here, really just setting everything up. Oh, I love that pass off. Very cool. And she has kind of an interesting thing because she can be a little bit lower, but her highs are kind of like that really soft, delicate, kind of like lilty a little bit. And she really just has this ability to pass that off so well. And, you know, I keep saying that, and it's like, well, why is that so hard? In a lot of ways, it's because it's like, you know, I keep using sports analogies, but like if you're playing, you know, like volleyball, she's the one who sets up. And that a lot of times requires a lot of humility because, like, yeah, you still get time, but like, it's usually passing it off to the people who are going to be getting the bigger parts. And that's one thing, is like being pretty okay with that. And that is very rare. And this is probably one of the bigger moments that I'm talking about here. 사랑이란 게 너무 어떡해 네 마음도 다 녹아버리게 또다시 원해 내 곁에 yeah, yeah, yeah. I want you to cry, cry for me 너 연기라도 해 빨리 cry for me Make it rain fall, fall and fall now, yeah. That setup giving that, you know, it goes from her and first, I just love the setup, and then it goes to Chewie, and then it goes into the main piece with Nyan. And again, I think the thing that's also impressive here is that some of the stuff that she's getting is just so necessary for just a stable vocal, and she has that going straight. And I mean, this is what I'm talking about, like stuff like this is I would consider it to be really high pitched. That's an amazing pass off. And, you know, I think the reason why it just stuck with me so much is just because I feel like that with Mina, I feel like everybody is known for something, right? Like, you know, you think about like Sana and Momo, and they are really good dancers. And, you know, you have Nyan and Jihyo, who are just like this force. And I don't know, I just sat there and I was listening to some of my favorite songs, and I thought to myself, wow, she actually is kind of being, she's handling some of the more intricate pieces and moments where it's so critical of her to have like perfect timing and like being able to make sure that the next person can take their spot, and like, again, humility and not having the jealousy and being like, well, I don't have the same lines as Nyan does, or as I don't have the same lines as Sana or Momo. You know, it would be very easy for somebody who had a really big ego to make a big fuss about it. And it was just kind of interesting too, because I just thought to myself, some of these pieces are so solid and like needed just that quality and that assurance and the whole foundation to be laid. And she's really hoisting almost like a load-bearing wall. And it just kind of blew my mind. So I wanted to come on here and just kind of give these little moments here to kind of show that, you know what, I'm thinking about how good Mina is, and I feel like she's not talked enough. Anyway, thank you all so much for this quick little piece about Mina. I have some other ideas about artists like this. Anyway, thank you all so much. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.